All right, let's recap. So now we've got a table view that's got some demo information on here. What we want to do next is actually show real, the real filters. So two things. I'm trying to remember. Did we add names to our filters? No, we did not. So the first thing we need to do is visit each of our filters, add a name to it. To do that, we're going to go to the prototype, and we're going to say that every filter has a variable called name, which is a string. Um, and in the prototype, we're going to say that anything has to, minimally, we have to have a getter for that. Now we have to visit each of the filters we've created so far and give them names. We can even see here, it caught up with us that we do not conform to the protocol filter. So let's conform to that protocol. I'm going to go let, what we call again, name string equals, in this first filter we'll give it a nice name of scale intensity. And for this next filter, we're going to give it a name of what are we going to call it? We're going to call it mix filter. That sounds good. I think my little girl said I should call it broccoli. She likes the green skin. Okay, now we've got two named filters. Let's go back to our view controller, and we'd like to use the filter model, and we don't even have a filter model in our view controller. Let's just remember where this is all coming from. Let's go to the main storyboard. The main view controller is here, and the code for this main view controller has got the filter model. We are going to be, in here in this view controller, and it doesn't know anything about the this view controller's filter model, so we want to pass that across. This is the segue. This is the representation that this is one view controller, this is another, and you can move between them. Let's go to obviously we have to start with this view controller and somehow pass it to the other one. So let's do that. Let's go to the main view controller. That would be the view controller. Where is it? There it is, view controller. And whenever this view controller moves to another segue, it calls override prepare for, well, let's see, override funk. And this is a very useful function called prepare for segue. Nice. So this will get called whenever a segue is about to transition from one view controller to another. What gets passed in is the object that called this segue to be called, and we don't care about that. In our case, it's this button here. It's like we don't care about that. What we do care is that the other segue that we're going to be going to, the destination segue, is our select filters view controller. So we are going to grab the segue, and the segue knows what the destination is. So, oh, there it is, the destination view controller. And we want to assign this to a variable. We want to assign it to, I'll say VC equals. VC equals. So now we've assigned the view controller, but we are only interested in this case in the view controller if it's a select filters view controller. So I'm going to say as question mark select filters view controller. Okay, that's pretty close. Then we're going to put the word if in front here to remind us that we're doing a conditional assignment. And this is a pretty slick piece of code I want to explain. So what we've done here is, and I'll do, yeah, that looks good. It's complaining because we haven't used our VC variable yet, but we can in this guarded section. What we've done is we've taken this view controller, we've asked it if it's if it's one of these select filters view controllers. And if it is, that's the if let bit. If it is one of these select filter view controllers, then we can do some code in here. So this view controller here is actually a select filters view controller. As a matter of fact, to be more explicit, I think I'll call it that. I think I'll call it a select filter view controller. Select filters view controller. Nice. What are we going to do with the select filters view controller? Well, we're going to have to add something to it first. Over here, we want to give it a reference to our filters model. So I'm going to go variable. I'm going to call it filters model. And we're going to make that a filters model. Perfect. Okay. And lastly, now you're saying to yourself, why am I getting this error up here? Why is it saying it has no initializer? Because this could be null. Okay? As a matter of fact, this will default to null. So we need to tell it, well, we need to do one of two things. I can give it an initializer. I can do one of a few things. I can say that this is optional. Okay? By saying it's optional, we're saying it's okay if this is null. And now I think about it, that's probably the appropriate thing to do. Another option that actually cleans up the code a little is instead saying you've got a default value. Okay, that actually makes the code kind of nice. This is a guarantee now that filters model will always be populated, which is kind of cool. Okay, let's go back to where we were before. We were in the view controller, and this select filters view controller now has a method, or I should say a property called filters model. Right? And filters model is equal to, we want to give it the main filters model. So we want to give it selected filters. Nice. Okay. So let's go through this one last time. Prepare for segue is being called because we're about to show the select filters view controller. In that select filters view controller, we assign to the filters model so that by the time we get to our filters model, the view controller will be by the time we get to select filters view controller, filters model will be populated appropriately. So now, as we're going through, we want to change what gets displayed here. We don't need this test data anymore. Instead, we can whack that. We can now go to our filters model and ask it, how many rows do you have? So filters model dot filters dot count. That's more like it. And similarly, when we are trying to get the data, we'll go to the filters and we just grab the one at the index row path. Oh, and actually we grab the thing. Okay, so this grabs the filter. Of course, we need to get the name. And that's what we're interested in displaying. Okay, that looks like something fun to run. Let's give it a shot. Thinking, building. Actually, it is a pretty performant environment, I think. I've done some Android work too, and the emulator is a lot slicker in iOS. There we go. We have the mix filter and we have the scale intensity. So that's actually pretty good. I'm going to save that right now. So let's go once again. Source code. Commit. show list of filters in the table view. All right. Looks good.